Fucking bullshit!
Welcome to the J.O.B. P.O.D. This is our episode 9. I'm your host, Tony West. Along with me today, as always, the bad guy, B.A.D., Blake Allen Davenport. What's going on, Blake?
Not much, guys. It's been a little while since we've had an episode, and I do take full responsibility for that. Been going through some pretty bad medical stuff. Got some back problems I've been dealing with. Had my COVID shot, and I've had some pretty nasty outlying effects. So hopefully we're going to push through that, and we're going to get back into this and pump out some more fun content for you guys you enjoy. So, again, my bad. Please forgive me.
Yeah, just like the Shawn Michaels, the greatest podcaster ever, is he's got some back issues. So we're pulling for you, dude, and it'll be all right. So let's
Thanks, brother.
Get the pod rolling here.
All right, let's roll with it.
Welcome back to the J.O.B. P.O.D. So our first segment, as always, is going over. A lot of things to talk about since we last met for the pod. Let's go ahead and start with probably the one that is the most, I don't even know the word, dude, diabolical, I guess. So WWE hired a comedian writer that knew nothing about the product and basically did a radio show and said, I know nothing about the product. She said, I know there's a guy named Bobby Ashley, and he's with the, I can't remember if she knew the name of the stable or not, but she basically said he's supposed to be cool. And then immediately faced a lot of backlash from the fans and was promptly fired. So we've had a lot of discussion about that over the weeks. And what's your take on this whole non-qualified writer joining the WWE product?
You know, I'm just going to be blunt about it. The fact of the matter is if they're going to hire somebody like that, I would just why throw the damn money away? Why? I mean, you know, and it goes back to, you know, kind of what Jim Cornette says about, you know, and JR for that matter, because JR said it on his podcast one time. I mean, they want wrestlers, but they all want them to be funny. They want them to be just actors. That's not what I want. I would rather see 10 Tony West in there writing this shit, giving me quality content that I want, than whatever the fuck the shit they brought in was. I mean, and it's in the shitters. Like we've said this for weeks. Wrestling is it's fucking dead, dude. And you know, I mean, I don't know who signs off on this. Like, it's got to be Vince, but like, who thinks this is a good idea? Like, who? I'm baffled. That's the word I'm going to use is baffled. I mean, wrestling, it's your bread and butter. It's what brought you to the fucking dance, and then, I mean, to slap every fan in the face with this, and you know, it was something everybody speculated, but you know, we all never thought that Vince could be that fucking stupid.
And let us be clear. This is nothing about she's a black female, right? So this is not because she's a black female comedy writer. She may be a great comedy writer, but she had zero knowledge of the business and zero knowledge of. She wasn't even a casual fan of the business. Like, there was a photo I saw that her and another writer that I don't know his credentials, but I'm assuming he probably doesn't know about the business either. Were attending their first Raw show ever. Like, never been to one. Never, and even if you haven't been to one, just no knowledge of the product, of the history, of the business. Like, that's my bone to pick with it. It's not who she is and what she does in her day to day. It's you have no knowledge of the business. You're not qualified for the job, but you got the job.
Right. I didn't even think about people taking it that way. No. It has nothing to do with skin color, with sex, religion. I don't really give a shit about any of that. But when you have one of your writing team going on a show and saying, I don't know anything about this product, and openly just getting common sense stuff wrong. I mean, you would think somebody on the writing team would at least know the characters' names.
Well, let's think of it this way, right? Let's say that uh, a popular show, The Big Bang Theory. Let's say The Big Bang Theory hired somebody that worked in fucking stock market that had never seen The Big Bang Theory,
Mm-hmm.
but they were successful in the stock market. So they're like, "Hey, come in and work on this show." Like it'd be the fucking same thing. Like it
Yeah,
makes no
yeah.
sense.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, I know it makes all of us furious. And you know, if somebody wants to hang their hat on the whole race thing, or whatever, at the end of the day, that's up to them. But we're just speaking straightly on, this is a slap in the face to the product. It's a slap in the face to the fans, and no fucking wonder it's like everybody's turning away from this shit.
Well, I think it's discouraging to us because I think as we are WWE fans. All right.
Hmm.
We may not be fans of the products that they're putting out right now, but at some moment in time, we could say we are WWE fans. And as
Yes.
such, we are always hopeful that hey, they're going to turn a corner. It's like when you're like in a bad relationship and you're just like, well, someday it'll get better. Like we're just hopeful that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And there's been a lot of moments, right? Like Bruce Pritchard coming back on board. I know for myself, I was like, okay, maybe this is going to be a change. It wasn't, but when they brought in Paul Heyman and they brought in Eric Bischoff, we were hopeful then because hey, maybe it's going to be a change, and it wasn't. So this is just a slap into the face to all the fans that have been waiting for them to get back to as good as they were. I'm not even going to shoot at Attitude Era, man. Like I would be happy to see them be back to the Ruthless Aggression era. Just a product that is worth watching and not the same dribbling bullshit every week that nobody gives a fuck about because you don't care about your stories, you don't care about your characters, you don't care about your wrestlers, you don't care about them trying to break out and make a legacy for themselves. So we have a future, Shawn Michaels to look back on or whatever. Um, when you don't have that and you're not shooting for that and you're just doing shit like this, it pisses us off, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people shit on Vince Russo all the time. At least he knew what he was fucking talking about. Whether he was good at it towards the end, whether he wasn't, I mean, he knew what the hell he was talking about.
Right.
So,
He had a
I
history
mean,
history in the around the business and he knew what the business was. I mean, he was still out there and he didn't do everything great, but I mean, he wasn't somebody that had zero fucking knowledge. That would be like hiring somebody like in our families that doesn't even know anything about fucking wrestling. Like it's a slap in the face. And like I said, I'm gonna say it right here, right now. I never in my lifetime expect them to be as good as the Attitude Era was. We've all clamored for it for years. We've all wanted PG-13 content. We're never getting it, dude. They're corporate now. It'll never happen. They'll never have a B show because they have branding and marketing. I get that. All I'm saying is give a shit. Like I said, get back to the ruthless aggression era. Get to the where you give a shit. NXT is a shining light, right? NXT is pro wrestling from eons ago. That's the only shining light they have. Once shit gets to the main roster, it's nothing, dude. It's not wrestling. It's goofy bullshit. And even like this Alexa Bliss shit with the doll and her being psychotic now, and people have to react to the doll like it's fucking real. Like it's garbage, dude. It's garbage TV. It's not what we grew. And I'm not trying to sound like the bitter old guy. Like it's not what I grew. You ruined my childhood. Who the fuck is enjoying this? Who out there is fucking their ratings are declining. I mean I'm seeing shit about how their Zoom their Thunderdome people like they're half of those people are fucking like paid to be there. Like nobody gives a fuck about this product, dude.
no, and I don't know how anybody can, and that's the really bad part in all this. I mean, my middle son Mason, he still loves wrestling. There's a catch to that. When you talk to him about wrestling, he doesn't talk about WWE. Well, to be fair, he doesn't talk about AEW either. He talks about some dude named Grimm on YouTube I've never heard of before. Uh, but I mean, he still lights up around the product. His most product knowledge is he knows Daddy loves Bray Wyatt and the Fiend. He has the WWE game because that's pretty much the only game they have for wrestling right now. Hopefully, the AEW game comes out, and I hope it shreds, man. I really do. I'm going to give it a chance. Looking forward to that. But yeah, you're right. It's never going to be what we wanted it to be ever again. And it's not just the fact that it's corporate, but it's a different time. It's a very forward time. Um, a lot of the things that were said back then, can't be duplicated, repeated, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. Um,
Well, I don't even know that that's what we clamor for, dude. I think, in my opinion, what we clamor for is everybody on that show. You can watch, you can pull up a Raw right now from 1998. Everybody on that show mattered. From fucking Too Cool to The Rock to, I mean, from the bottom of the card to the top, every one of those people. I mean, you had, I'm sure you'll find a card where it's like fucking Kurgan or some shit that nobody cared about. But I mean, dude, Al Snow, fucking over. Uh, uh, like I said, fucking Too Cool, fucking over. The New Age Outlaws, like you didn't have to be a main guy to be over and to be cool and to be a part of the show.
well, let's put it this way. I mean, like we've talked about some of the shows we went to together. Go back to the live shows that we have been to, like we've talked about on this podcast together, and like there's so many matches that you can. There's bathroom match. There's t-shirt line match. There's a let's just go outside and smoke because fuck this bullshit match. So many matches like that, and then used to back in the day. I mean, you didn't want to leave ringside because you didn't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
And who cares now? Who cares?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, as I said, I think that's our frustration with it. And, I saw another article the other day talking about JR was asked who should take over the business when Vince dies. And he pointed to Triple H and Stephanie. And honestly, dude, I think he's right. I don't know what the future is with all the rumblings of the sale and all this other crap they're talking about. But I think with what Hunter has done with NXT, I think he's the only dude that has enough. He's I don't want to say hip, but he's grounded enough and he's knowledgeable of where the product needs to go enough that he can probably bring the nose back down up a little bit. Like I think he's the only guy.
Well, somebody's got to, dude, because the ship that goes any further down, it's gonna sink quicker than the Titanic because it's the drizzling shits.
Yeah. So the other things that happened this week, I saw. So we mentioned on an early episode about Jericho hitting a crash pad at the pay per view that they had, and I saw that he put out a statement. I don't know if he put out a statement, but I guess he just talked about it on a podcast or whatever. That was probably the biggest bump he's ever taken, and there wasn't a crash pad. There were cardboard boxes underneath, and basically, there are a lot of female wrestlers from NXT that were shitting on him, and he basically said, "I'll remember that." So, as we talked about on that episode, I mean, anybody that wants to critique people fucking taking these bumps and doing these crazy things probably hasn't put on a pair of boots and hasn't stepped into a ring and taken a fucking bump just on the mat. So I don't want to, hear their bullshit about people taking fucking bumps off of cages or whatever the fuck, because they don't know what they're talking about, and they don't respect people's lives and bodies. So fuck them, and that's basically what he said too. So
No, I dig that, man. Like, I mean, he's at least doing something to make it entertaining.
right,
He is doing something to make you go, "Oh, holy shit,"
right.
So, they can all kiss his ass and then kiss mine too.
Right. The last thing I want to talk about before we move on, WWE put together a 50 greatest tag team list, and I don't know that WWE knows what a tag team is, because their number one pick is the New Day. Let me start off by saying the New Day is awesome, dude. I think the New Day is great. Xavier, Kofi, Big E. So I like the New Day. They're awesome. Xavier, Kofi, Big E, they're all awesome, but they're a fucking faction. Like, a tag team is two dudes, right? In my opinion. Also, if three people are a faction, I'm sorry, if three people are a tag team, then where the fuck is the NWO on this list? Where the fuck is the Freebirds on this list? So they need to, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, well, this one's a tag team and this one's a faction. Like, which fucking one is it, dude? So I mean, there's a lot of names on this list that I agree with. There's a lot of them that I think are misplaced. The Usos are a good team, but I don't know that I would put them above a lot of the people that they're above on this list. I mean, I don't know.
No, I mean the Usos don't get to be over the New Age Outlaws. They don't get to be hell. They don't get to be over the British Bulldogs. They don't get to be over the fucking Rockers.
Right.
It,
I mean,
no.
Back to the faction thing. I mean, you've got the Shield on here. You've got the Undisputed Era on here, which is more than two fucking people. Like, which way is it, dude? are three people a tag team now, or are they fucking not? Like, I don't understand. So, but yeah, so they put out their list, and I mean, it is WWE, so they're gonna talk about their opinions of the greatest tag teams and all this shit. But at the end of the day, wrestling fans have different opinions than that. So
yeah, just more disappointing content from the World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yep. All right, man. So that's really all I got to talk about this week on our going over segment, so we can move on.
Vincent.
We happy?
Yeah, we happy.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back to the J.O.B. POD. Our next segment is I Respect You, Booker Man. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some matches, some segments, some whatever that at that moment we popped because it truly brought us into the wrestling business. We were truly all in, and we respect the Booker Man or whoever put the match or segment or whatever together. So, Blake, I'm going to let you start.
Now, I know from the photo that this doesn't look like it looks like your everyday run-of-the-mill 1997-98 Shawn Michaels promo.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is not. This is one of the greatest promos to me that he ever cut. This was in Canada. I don't remember which province, but this is during this promo. He's got two Canadian flags stuck in his pants. The little mini flags.
Yeah, because he had him in his hands doing that
yeah,
thing.
Yep. But this whole I'm not even talking about this promo specifically, but the whole Canadian versus America thing. I mean, and that's still in many ways. I don't credit the WWE with creating all that. But to something we'll talk about later. I mean, that rivalry is very much still alive, and from everything between Brett being the Canadian hero, to his, how awesome was it when he was able to do that, the double heel turn, double face turn, whatever, double turn with Bret Hart. He was still so cheered in Canada. And what a fucking time to be alive. I mean, because you could tune in one week, they're in, Dallas, Texas, and Shawn Michaels is hailed as the greatest thing that ever happened. 2 months later, they're in Toronto, Canada, and they're being booed out of the building. And just that whole thing for me, from start to finish with, Brett being the Canadian hero. And then you had so many people attached to it, not just Shawn. I mean, there was many times with Steve Austin and, The Undertaker, and just it made you like, I can remember times being as a kid and during all that, like I was a huge Bret Hart fan, but at the time I was like, no, Bret, you got to be loved by America too. You can't stop being this Canadian asshole. You can't do this. And I know that's what they wanted, so kudos to you, Bret. But that whole, like, yeah, I respect you, Booker, man. I enjoyed the Canada versus U.S. angle. I did.
Well, if you think about it too, it's kind of funny that really enhanced the Montreal Screwjob, right? Because they already had built up, Brett's a hero in Canada and blah 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 blah, and then you have the Montreal Screwjob, which it just coincides crazily. But that kind of made me think of another segment, and it's not my pick for today. But do you remember 2000? Okay, well, I don't know the year, but Shawn came back. It was after 2002, and he was in the ring in Canada, and they were booing the fucking shit out of him. Uh, I remember he had the suit on, and he went to cut a promo, and he kind of was. I mean, he was a baby face coming back, but he was fucking. He was 97 Shawn Michaels that night, dude. He was like
Oh, I
fucking
enjoyed that.
straight up heel, and like they were not
Yes.
having Shawn Michaels that night, which obviously that's more coinciding with the Montreal Screwjob, but it's kind of all full circle when you think about it. So
Oh, absolutely. And I think to this day, I mean, I bet Shawn Michaels could show up on Raw in Canada, and they're still gonna boo him.
right.
I mean,
All right, man. So this is kind of funny because you already kind of mentioned this, and it's kind of a coincidence that this is my pick for tonight, but this is mine.
yes.
So Steve Austin, Bret Hart, WrestleMania, submission match. Steve Austin gets the gusher, and I mean, just that fucking image right there, dude. Blood pouring down his face, even over his like perfectly white teeth. Like, you could not have written a better fucking picture. Like, you could not have scripted or told him fucking get juice and look at the camera and let it rush all over your face. Like this fucking moment, dude, is to me the beginning of everything that followed. Like, nothing shot. I mean, you know, Austin 316, the promo, King of the Ring, like all those things built it up. But this fucking moment with this double turn, probably the greatest double turn that's ever happened. I couldn't name you a better one. Um, it's just so fucking monumental, dude. Like, they were building the Canada versus America angle and all that stuff, and probably right there is the greatest moment in pro wrestling.
You know, it's hard to disagree with that actually. And you know what a visual. I mean, they use that visual in everything they do. I mean, still to this day. Um, eh, I don't know if it's just the combination of the way the sweat was going or whatever, or maybe it was just the wrestling god smiling down on them that day or something. I don't know, but that image where it's just pouring down his face like that, which usually you could get like a little stream or something, but I mean the fact it was going down his face, down his teeth, it was it's incredible. It really is it's one of the greatest moments in wrestling. I won't say it is the greatest. I don't know what I would consider that, but
Yeah.
it it was an incredible, amazing moment in wrestling.
I mean, like I said, dude, I mean, not a lot of people were blading then. Not a lot of. I mean, how many times have you seen Stone Cold bloody? Really, not a fucking lot. But dude, in that moment and that night, and it just fucking worked, dude. I mean, whoever booked those two together and came up with this whole angle and decided to make a double turn, like, I respect you, Booker, man. Like, that shit, unreal. So, all right, well, that's I respect you, Booker, man. So we can move on. All right, Blake. So we're going to try a new segment here. This is going to be called the Top 5. So WWE does their top 10. We're half the men that WWE are, obviously. So we're going to do a top 5. So in celebration of Independence Day, we're going to do the greatest American gimmicks. Now, what I mean by that, I'm not saying like, oh, the greatest wrestlers that were American. No, we're talking like patriotic, had the fucking stars and stripes. They did the whole shebang. So um, let's start out with number 5. So I don't know if you're going to agree on this, but I'm going to throw out what I think is number 5, and that's going to be Mr. America. So in 2000, I want to say 3 or 4, Hulk Hogan was banned from WWE TV, and he came back under a mask like the Midnight Rider, Dusty Rhodes gimmick from the fucking 80s or 70s, whatever that was, and swore up and down he was not Hulk Hogan. So he had the whole, American gimmick. He had the mask. He was a superhero. Everybody and their fucking brother knew it was Hulk Hogan. But for me, that's got to go on here as number 5.
Oh yeah, I mean that whole thing just reminds me of Juan Cena. It's not John Cena, it's his cousin Juan Cena.
Right.
So
Yeah,
no, it. As much as I don't, I remember like that, and then they're like, "That's Hulk Hogan, take the mask," that whole shit.
Yeah.
Like I do remember that. So yes, that's definitely number 5.
All right. So for number 4, I'm going to go with the Patriot. Do you agree or disagree?
You know, yeah, probably Del Wilkes, the Patriot, number 4. Yeah, that's good.
So I can't speak a whole lot on the Patriot. I've seen the gimmick. I've seen a match or two, but I don't remember a whole lot of his stuff. I think mostly he was kind of pre my time. So if you want to speak on the Patriot and his whole thing, go ahead.
All right, so here's the deepest I can speak on the Patriot. He stole Kurt Angle's ring music, or Kurt Angle stole his ring music. That's pretty much it, man. Like, I just remember like there was like a few like 6-man tags that he was just there, and like, I never really put too much thought into. Oh, that's the Patriot, and the Patriot has this move. I was just like, oh, he's there. He's a body.
Right. I mean, from everything I've heard on shoot interviews and this and that, I mean, I've heard that he was a pretty good worker and blah blah blah, but not a whole lot of knowledge on my end on the Patriots. So,
All right,
what was that number 4?
That was number 4. Yep.
If we're counting Hulk Hogan as being Hulk Hogan, obviously Lex wasn't bigger than Hulk Hogan. But for the fucking Mr. America gimmick and for the Patriot, Lex had the whole Lex Express thing. They did the fucking bus tour. They did all this shit. It didn't fucking work. But and I'm not a huge Lex Luger fan. I am looking forward to watching the Icons episode on him because it's interesting to see who he is now, because from all accounts he's a pretty good dude now, that had a rocky road. But as far as wrestling goes, I never really was like, oh shit, it's Lex Luger. Like,
do you think he gets I know he's had his heat in the past, but do you think the majority of the heat now comes from the Miss Elizabeth?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Which they kind of didn't. I don't want to say they left that out of the Randy doc, but they kind of they kind of switched up the story a little bit, because there's different takes on what happened that night. I don't know. I wasn't fucking there. Lex and Elizabeth are the only people that were fucking there. So what really happened, who knows? But I'm sure that's why he got a lot of heat. Nancy was pretty beloved from everything I've heard. So, but as far as wrestling goes, like the only thing I really remember him for is coming out on Nitro, and being a surprise. But I think it was somebody that mattered more. I think that could have been even bigger than it was. But it's Lex Luger, man. I mean, wasn't the greatest worker. Did he have the body? Yeah, he had the body and he had the look and all that. But work rate and he's Lex Luger. So
yeah, yep.
All right, Blake. So for number 2 on our list of great Americans, we're going to go with Sergeant Slaughter. So Sergeant Slaughter's got a good case to be number 1, but then he had the whole deal where he joined the Iraqis and became a fucking bad guy. So I just don't think that you can be number 1 when you have that going on. But
no, you gotta be the American hero, or maybe an Olympic hero.
Oh shit, spoilers. But yeah, so Sarge, he had fucking G.I. Joe, and he was a big personality in the 70s and 80s. Obviously before my time, I didn't watch a lot of Sarge's stuff. I've seen some clips and stuff recently of Sarge, but obviously if you're doing this kind of list, you've got to put Sergeant Slaughter on there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Again, being a child of the '90s, the most thing I remember him for is Shawn Michaels and Triple H wearing the headgear, trying to avoid his spit. So, all
Well,
right,
I mean, I remember him getting screwed with by DX all the time, him handcuffing himself to China.
yeah,
Um, but I have gone back and seen some of the matches with him, and Sheiky Baby, and
yeah.
I mean, for the time, it was very entertaining stuff and heat seeking,
Oh yeah, I mean
very heat seeking.
he was an awesome worker. I mean he knew what he was doing in the ring, and he was great. But as far as star power and he had that thing with the Iraq, which that was fucking heat seeking. So
Oh, for
he
sure.
he's not number one on our list. So all right, Blake. So I've rattled off all of these now. So I'm gonna let you unveil our number one pick for greatest American gimmick.
All right. Well, our number one pick for the greatest American gimmick is going to go to the master of the three eyes, an Olympic gold medalist, and he won it with a broken freaking neck, Kurt Angle. And you
Oh,
deserve it, my friend.
it's true. It's damn true.
He's just a
Yeah.
sexy Kurt.
So I mean, Kurt had the red, white, and blue stripes for a while. He came in. I mean, that was a big part of his gimmick was the Olympic hero, the American, blah blah blah. I don't want to say that he kept that his whole career because obviously he did different things, but if we're talking about those gimmicks and those workers, I mean, Kurt Angle's got to be your number one dude. One of the greatest matches of all time that doesn't, I feel, gets overlooked because it's never on those lists of great matches. Was him and Shawn at WrestleMania 21, dude. Like, fuck, that was a good match. So for the great American gimmicks, I think Kurt Angle has to be number one.
Oh yeah, and then I mean, you go back to his time in TNA with, I mean, that spot off the top of the cage.
That's
Yeah,
in our intro package.
yeah, it is. Missed, botched or not, it was still rough, and
Yeah.
the fact that he had the balls to do that, and then,
Oh, he was a master of the moonsault, dude.
oh man, it was, probably my favorite Kurt Angle match is going back to WrestleMania. Shit, I lose track of them. Sorry, but the one he faced Brock Lesnar.
20 or 19.
Oh yeah, it was 19, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, where Brock fucked the shit up.
Shooting star press.
But I love that match through and through. I mean, such great chemistry, and during that time frame with him, all the comedy things that him and Brock were doing, like that's when I didn't mind comedy because it was good. Like, Kurt takes a big old swig of milk and then like Brock slaps him on the back and he spits it all over the girl, or they're doing the push-up contest. And I think it was like he challenged like Brock to do so many push-ups, and then at the end of it, he's like, "All right, you win," and walks out.
Yeah, Kurt was awesome, man. Was awesome, is awesome. So shout out to Kurt Angle. Props. You are our number one pick for greatest American gimmick. All right, guys. Well, that's our top five. So we'll move on here. Welcome back to the J.O.B. POD. Our next segment is our favorite on the show. This is Picture Association. So, Blake, since you started out, I respect you, Booker Man. I am going to start out Picture Association.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So here is my first picture. I am looking for a sound with this one. Please tell me you know this moment.
I've got a. I don't.
What?
I don't. No.
Oh my God. So this is Terry Funk versus Jerry Lawler, and Jerry Lawler takes a fucking spike to Terry Funk's eye. I think that this is an empty arena match, actually. Yeah, there's nobody in those fucking stands. Yeah, so this is an empty arena match between Jerry Lawler and Terry Funk, and it's a super short match. I can't remember how long it is, but he hits him with a fucking spike, and Terry Funk just fucking sells the shit out of this dude. Like he's holding it, but the line of the night is, "My eye, my eye, Lawler, you took my eye." Oh, dude, it's so fucking good. Like just that my eye will fucking live in my memory forever. So I'm gonna have to find that sound bite for you to fucking hear because it's so great, dude.
All right. My bad, man. Like, yeah, I had not seen that one. I've heard of this, just never seen it before.
Okay, so this match was actually longer than I remembered, so it's like 13 minutes. But I gotta find the part where he says "my eye." It's fucking, it's the greatest shit ever. All right, let me back this up just a minute. I know we don't usually do this on Picture Association, but this one, since you don't know it, we have to embark on this journey together. All right, can you see my screen?
Slam Terry Funk.
So
Kicks him.
let me back that up 1 second. So Terry Funk. Oh my god, dude.
I'm upset. I have not seen this before now.
Oh my god, dude. That may be. Ooh, an Impact Classic. Jerry Lawler, Terry Funk. So, okay. So now you have seen the segment. So that is one of the reasons that Terry Funk is the greatest fucking worker of all time. That is pure fucking wrestling, dude. Like him selling that shit. Lance, come look at my eye. God, where is that son of a bitch? My goddamn eye. Oh,
Oh, that was beautiful.
so yeah.
I'm not topping that. I'm not fucking topping that. We just call this segment done. I'm not topping it.
I'm glad I could share that moment with you because it's such a great fucking moment, dude.
I'm like I said, I'm very upset. I have not seen that before now. That was amazing.
All right. Well, that's my first picture, so.
Well, I mean, like I said, we can go ahead and wrap this shit up because like I got nothing that will compete with that.
My eye, Lawler. Where's my goddamn eye?
All right.
Fucking love Terry Funk, dude. He's the best.
I brought this picture in because like the verbiage he uses during this has become a part of my everyday vocabulary.
Okay.
Not the whole disappointing fucking segment of this interview, but the way he refers to Cincinnati. Everybody knows I live in Cincinnati, and the fact that he called it the Nasty Natty. I don't think there's anybody that asks me where I live that I don't tell them the Nasty Natty. So this, yeah, I mean it has altered my life. As terrible as that interview was, that one moment has altered my entire life.
Let me ask you a question though, because it's interesting now. Do you think he was already done at this point?
You know, he just did one of those between the ropes interviews. I don't think that he was done at this point. I don't know how much further, like, I don't know how long this was done before he officially left.
Right.
But he just did an interview talking about that. I think he was at least burnt out for a good year.
Right.
And he'd already made his decision that he was out because I mean he literally said, I've got to go back to this shit. You know,
Right.
I've got to go back to WWE. He's like,
Well,
there's so many things out there. I want to go to Japan, you know, wrestle on my own terms. He's like, they're gonna make me walk away from all this money. They're gonna make me walk away from this.
right. Well, I just, looking back, because I know for one, expected that interview, Dean and Steve, to be fucking great. Like, to me, Dean was, if you took Stone Cold and Brian Pillman and hybrided them together, you had fucking Dean Ambrose. That's what he was going for. I don't know how he feels about it, but that's what I felt was Stone Cold versus or plus Brian Pillman equaled what Dean Ambrose was supposed to be. So I thought this interview was going to be great, and then he got on there and it was like he just didn't give a shit. So like I said, in hindsight, it always made me wonder if like this was one of those moments where like he was just done.
I mean, it very well could be because I mean, he said many times about how he was burnt out. Where I mean, they couldn't write anything for him that was worth a shit in his mind.
Right.
It was all garbage, and so
And it was.
I wouldn't doubt. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that he was burnt out at this point. So
Right. All right, man. So here's my second picture here. I'm trying to decide which one to go with next. I'll go with this one. Sure, you know the segment.
I got to pull it up here. Hang on one second. It's showing us like super low. I know the segment, because this. Just make sure I got it right. This is the one where he throws the belt off the bridge, right?
Right. He throws the belt off, and then
This is where the Rock shows up, right?
yeah, they're fighting over. I think they were fighting over the IC belt at the time, or
Yeah.
maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
But I just remember like the Rock. He comes out there, and Steve's doing this whole thing, and like the Rock is like, "You son of a bitch," and just fucking hauls back and hits him, and he goes fucking falling off the bridge or whatever. But yeah.
And then they do that really bad body double shot.
Yeah. And we're huge fans of the podcast and all that, and I've heard Pritchard talk about how nasty that fucking water was, and how shitty it was to film this whole segment. But it's definitely a memorable one. I mean, Austin and Rock, everything they did, dude, was fucking gold.
Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure.
There wasn't a time that those two weren't touching that wasn't fucking automatically classic. So.
Mm-hmm. 2 of the 4 on most people's Mount Rushmore. So.
Oh yeah. My top 3 would be them and Sean.
Yeah, and then pretty much pick your other favorite wrestler to put on your 4th one. So.
Right.
All right. So. You will not. If you know this, I'm going to be surprised. But it's more of my fanship from TNA. And this didn't happen in the ring. This was backstage.
What the fuck?
Yeah, this is Don West and Abyss selling the Abyss mask. And if you like, so you've got this guy that I've looked up to being this monster for so long, and he's like, yeah, Biz, we got these masks. And he's like, oh wow, I love these. I look out into the crowd and I see all these little abysses, and it gets me hyped. I'm like, the fuck, stop this.
Yeah, no, that's a new one on me, bro. But it looks hilarious. So.
And then that's when he puts the mask on Don West. And
I do recall us looking at Shop TNA back in the day and going through TNA's roster, and I do remember like when we were working together that like TNA, we kept up with it, but I didn't watch as much as you, so I did not know that this segment existed.
No, it was a fun segment. I mean, it just, it was during a time. I mean, the Abyss character became more than just a one-dimensional monster. I mean, there was many layers to it. And honestly, I joke about it, but like that was actually really fun to see because I loved Don West on Shop TNA. He could sell the hell out of that merchandise. I don't know how many of those brown bag specials I ordered. Which I told my mom. She's like, "What are you getting?" I was like, "Getting the brown bag special." She's like, "Why do you need condoms?" I was like, "That's not it, Mom."
We're talking about TNA right now.
The T-shirt and DVDs and a figure. Just get out of my room. No. But no, man. Yeah, it was the Shop TNA days. I had the best merch in the world, but you can get a shitload of it for cheap. Go to a house show, you can get a shitload more of it for cheap too, and probably get somebody to sign it.
Right. All right, man. Here's my last picture of the evening.
I mean, I'm assuming this is when he won, the first ever, United
Undisputed.
Undisputed.
So he had just defeated The Rock for the World Heavyweight Championship, and you can kind of look in the background and see who is on the Titantron there, Steve Austin. But just his fucking selling, because he was, he had the smile, he just won the belt, and then as soon as Austin's music hit, Jericho perfectly sold that shit. Like, holy fuck, now I've got to face Steve Austin for the WWE Championship. So, I think it's interesting now to look at how, Jericho being the pick for the undisputed champion. He joked. I've heard him joke about it. Uh, he tells a story of how he found out was Vince was talking to Taker and he said, "Hey Taker, you know how you know the business is going down the toilet when we're making Jericho the world champion." Ha ha ha. So, and then he's also told the story about going to the hotel room and ordering the pizza with the fucking clerk and getting locked out and all that shit, and how he ate cold floor pizza with fucking dust bunnies on it and blah blah blah. But it was a great moment, dude. Like, I was a Jericho fan from day one when that fucking Titantron hit, and they did the Y2J thing, and his promos were always fucking magnetic, dude, and everything he did. And I love the way he worked in the ring because it was different than a lot of guys. And I remember, dude, me and you. I tried to sell you on Jericho for a lot of years, man, and you were like, he's okay. I think your opinion's different now, but like, Jericho was always a fucking top dog, dude, in my mind.
Well, I mean, that's definitely true, and I've never, shied away from that. I was not the biggest Jericho fan back in the day. As a matter of fact, I think I told you guys when we were talking about the surprise, you know, vignettes and everything, I was a little disappointed that it was him.
Yeah.
I mean, but got to remember, didn't read dirt sheets, and like all I know is this was a guy getting a sorry. He wasn't really shit in WCW, so, and I was still watching WCW, and I was just like, you know what? Yeah, not really happy about this.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, you hyped up a mid card guy, awesome.
Yeah.
So, but no, not true at all, and yeah, ended up starting respecting his work. Thoroughly, yeah, love Jericho to death now.
Yeah, definitely the guy that had an evolution to his character more than probably anybody else. Like, I can't name. I mean, Triple H had a lot of different, no pun intended, evolutions. Undertaker, obviously, Shawn, but dude, Jericho reinvented himself so many fucking times, and every time he did it, it fucking worked. So, gotta respect him for that.
For sure, man, and I love that last run with Kevin Owens in the list. I mean, I tell my kids all the time, you just made the list now, so what list? Don't worry about it.
All right, man. So that's picture association. Let's move on to the next.
Do you speak any English? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Welcome back to the J.O.B. POD. Our next segment is promo class. So basically, we're going to throw each other some promos and see if we can figure out whose promos they are. All right, Blake. So I'm going to go ahead and hit you with my first promo here.
All right, so easy. Oh, it's so easy. Did you see that combination suplex and pile driver at the same time? Wasn't it so beautiful? Do you realize I just successfully came back from a tour in Japan where I competed against the best they had to offer, where I defeated each one of them successfully? Do you realize in 7 short months, I had become the greatest world champion except for who's probably the best one to ever put on a pair of trunks? And he said to me, just shortly, you're going to be better than I ever was, everything I dreamed of. And I agree with him because that's my goal. I want to keep it, and I want to become the first professional wrestler to retire with this right here around my waist.
So the hint there is retire. So think about people that have retired a fucking lot. Because this promo was from late 70s, early 80s.
Ric Flair?
No. Someone that we've already mentioned tonight. Who's retired in wrestling more than anybody you fucking know?
Ric Flair.
Vince, my horse is sick.
Oh, Terry Funk for sure.
Yeah, Terry Funk. I was on a Terry Funk kick tonight, man. I don't know. After thinking about that My Eye segment, like I was just all about the Funker, man.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. I respect that. I respect you, Booker Man.
All right, bro. Hit me with what you got. Well, Shawn Michaels is the single most talented athlete in wrestling today inside the ring, but outside he's an adolescent, obnoxious jerk who takes his tights and goes home if he doesn't get his way. Bret Hart is one of the greatest of all time, but if he'd have been screwed as many times as he claims, and he'd have struck oil by now. Randy Savage is a legend, but let me ask you, how many records did Frank Sinatra sell last year? But the pinnacle of this icon garbage took place in last night's cage match between Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper, determining in their minds only who the real icon is. WCW had the gall to claim this was the greatest cage match in history, when it was only the greatest in 3 weeks since Hell in a Cell. But here you've got a 46-year-old bald movie star wannabe who looks like Uncle Creepy with a good build taking on a guy with an artificial hip who hasn't wrestled a full schedule in 10 years. It is a tribute to the massive egotism in my mind of both men and an indictment of WCW's promotional policy that this place even took place, much less in the main event, when the card was one of the best WCW was capable of having. By the 10-minute mark, they were sucking wind so bad the first 3 rows passed out of oxygen deprivation. Would have been funny if it wasn't so sad. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.
Thank you.
That was my best cornet. Was just saying everything really fucking fast.
So, at what point in this did you realize I pulled the cornet one out on you?
Let's see. Probably about adolescent obnoxious jerk.
That's where I figured. I just didn't know for sure.
The Frank Sinatra thing threw me off a little bit because I was like, Frank Sinatra, but yeah. But then I thought back to Cornette's tirades against WCW, and I was like, oh, okay, this is 100 fucking percent Cornette, dude.
Oh man, I mean, Jesus Christ, is he the best manager mouthpiece, or is it Paul Heyman? Who do you?
So, what makes the best manager, right? Is it the talent that they manage? Is it the talent that probably couldn't have got over without him? Like, Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar was over, okay? Let's just be honest. Did Brock Lesnar suck at promos? Yeah. Paul Heyman helped get that aspect out there, but Brock Lesnar was over. Roman Reigns, he brought to a different level. I mean, Paul Heyman, I think, is a great talker, but as far as manager goes, dude, I'd have to go with Cornette. I mean, fucking Midnight Express was, a monumental run that still fucking kind of is going. Vader, Owen and Davey. I mean, fuck, dude. He called Shawn Michaels a fucking fornicator on live TV.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that because I was literally watching that. I was in there recouping the back there earlier. I was on some ice packs, and I actually watched that where he called Shawn Michaels a fornicator.
Yeah.
And I forgot he was even a part of that.
I just rewatched fucking King of the Ring 96 2 days ago, and that was the build up to that fucking match. Was him? That was the whole Shawn Michaels is trying to fuck Davey Boy's wife and blah blah blah, and Shawn Michaels, you're a fornicator, and like what? I don't know, man. I mean, Cornette to me, I'm a Cornette guy, right?
Yeah,
I love Paul Heyman.
Sure.
I don't, I'm not knocking Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's fucking great, but Cornette with the shoot interviews and everything that he said that just fucking driven me to tears from laughter. I don't agree with everything that he says about the pro wrestling business today. I mean, Cornette, I've watched every fucking shoot interview he's ever put out, and I'm a huge Cornette mark. So it's probably unfair of me to take sides in this, because I would say, if it came down to it, you're a Paul Heyman guy, I'm a Cornette guy. But we both respect and like the other. I don't agree with everything that he says about current pro wrestling and all his ideas of what wrestling needs to be. I do agree with him on a lot of it, but he's always making waves, and you never can tell if it's a shooter, if it's a work, and blah blah blah. But as far as his time in the business, dude, he elevated every fucking body he went out there with, and promos like this, helped him fucking get there. So,
oh, absolutely. So yeah, I agree fully. I don't have a rebuttal to that because that pretty much covered it.
All right, brother. well, you can go ahead and read promo number 2. You're probably going to get this one pretty easy, but it's a great fucking promo, and I just want to hear you talk about it.
All right. All right. Just as sure, for the very first time, I stood right here in this arena and called you an ugly hermaphrodite. Just as sure as this Sunday night at Armageddon, I will be in Hell in a Cell. This is going to be the most brutal match I've ever been in, the most dangerous match I've ever been in. It doesn't matter what you call it, whether it's called Hell in a Cell, Rage in a Cage, Penis in Uranus. The only thing that matters is I'm going in this Sunday night to do what I do best, to get back my WWF title. And the fact of the matter is this Sunday night, I know I have my work cut out for me. I know I've got 5 other guys I've got to compete with. Even I have to beat Kurt Angle, which means I'm going to drink a glass of milk, I'm going to eat some cookies, and maybe I'll take 3 Viagra. Or maybe I face Rikishi, beat Rikishi. I did it for the people. I did it for the... Oh, shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty. Or maybe I have to beat The Undertaker, the American Badass. Beat it one more time so he'll raise up. Rest in peace. Or maybe he's got to beat Triple H, which means he's got to beat the game in the middle of the ring. And he's got a $2 slut for a wife. Or maybe he's got to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin, which means I got to get in my pick truck, drink some Steve Weisers, listen to some Backstreet Boys, and that's the bottom line, because the great one said so. Yeah, that was definitely The Rock.
How far in did it take you to get it?
Penis in Uranus. I was like, I'm pretty sure. Like, I kind of had an inkling as soon as I started out, because it said hermaphrodite, and I was like, who else is going to say hermaphrodite? Right. But as soon as it said penis in Uranus, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's it. And then as soon as we got into, going through the...
I did it for The Rock.
Yeah, I did it for the people. Oh, shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty.
I had to like use a little creative license and delete some of the Rock says, and
yeah.
I changed it to I and we and blah blah blah. But yeah, awesome promo. The Rock, he's up there with the... I mean,
For
dude,
sure.
he may be the greatest talker. I mean, I know we did a segment with greatest talkers of all time, and I threw Steve Austin out there, but dude, I don't know of a time that The Rock was out talked on the mic. So definitely king of the promo. All right, brother. Well, that's the end of our promo segment, so we can move on to our next. Welcome back to the J.O.B. POD. So this is our main event of the evening. This is our versus segment. So this week we are doing the greatest WrestleMania. All right, Blake, what is your pick for the greatest WrestleMania?
I'm going WrestleMania 14.
Okay.
It was the beginning of the greatest era in professional wrestling. Unfortunately, it was the end of Shawn Michaels' initial run, but I mean, coming out of that, that was really the launch of the Attitude Era, and just, I mean, the reason that we are even here doing this podcast, most of it launched just coming out of WrestleMania 14. So that's definitely what I'm going to pick for the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
Okay. I mean, I'm with you, dude. I can't really argue that one. That final main event, I think if Shawn had been on his game, it would have been a lot better. But at the same time, I mean, like you said, it started an era, and it was pretty damn awesome. So Tyson being involved, gave it an extra level, and it was up there for sure as one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. So I'm gonna go a little out of the box this week. So for me, just because of the match card and everything that led up to this WrestleMania and everything that came out of this WrestleMania. And it's probably going to be a little controversial with you because it is not an Attitude Era WrestleMania.
Really? Okay.
My pick for greatest WrestleMania is WrestleMania 21. So
Wow. Okay.
let me give you the reasoning. So WrestleMania goes Hollywood, right?
Mm-hmm.
WrestleManias don't always have a theme. I feel it's WrestleMania. Okay. So them going Hollywood was super. I'm a film buff guy. It was super cool to me. I fucking loved every one of the vignettes they did leading up to WrestleMania with Triple H doing Braveheart, and the most memorable one to me is the Pulp Fiction with Booker T and Eddie Guerrero, and you had the John Cena and the JBL doing the Few Good Men, and just all those, and they're super fucking memorable, dude. And you can watch those out of context, and they're still fucking awesome. So, but let me just read you this match card. All right. So Booker T, there's a 30-man battle royal, which Booker T wins. Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero is pretty much your opening match, right? So right there, that's some talent. The first ever Money in the Bank ladder match, which they built that shit up like this is what we're doing. Didn't really understand it till it fucking happened, and oh my god, dude, Shelton Benjamin being Shelton Benjamin, fucking awesome. Edge won that one, so I mean he made that. He beat Cena. I can't remember how much. I think it wasn't too long after that to get the title, but I mean that started a whole thing that we're still living in today with the Money in the Bank. The Undertaker versus Randy Orton. They started making this fucking streak mean something. Randy Orton was on his Legend Killer tour, and he fucking was a legitimate competitor against the Undertaker. I mean, that was the perfect. I've used that segment before in our show. That was the perfect way to wrap up the Undertaker or the Legend Killer storyline. Trish Stratus versus Christy Hemme with Lita. I don't remember that match a whole lot, but I mean that was still, Trish and Lita were great. Christy Hemme was a Diva Search person, so it was what it was. But then you have Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels in the match I mentioned earlier. Fuck, dude, that match was amazing. One of Shawn's greatest matches, probably Kurt's greatest match in my opinion. But one of those matches that they kind of skip over in a lot of the documentaries and a lot of the retellings of Shawn's career, but holy shit, what a match. 27 minutes that match went. Aki Bono versus Big Show, the sumo match. That was the period where Big Show, it was Floyd Mayweather, it was a sumo guy, it was all this shit. Big Show was doing Shaq. It was Big Show doing the Big Show thing. He's the fucking giant, and they're putting him against other fucking giants and blah, blah, blah. Was what it was, but didn't detract from the card for me. So, lastly, the last two matches, to me, kick-started what was the Ruthless Aggression era. Now, that whole saying came from Vince saying Ruthless Aggression and John Cena smacking Kurt Angle probably a year ahead of that. But these two matches changed the fucking game, dude. John Cena beats JBL for the WWE Championship. At the time, JBL was doing the JBL thing. He was kind of reviving SmackDown a little bit. Bradshaw recreated himself as JBL. John Cena's on his come up, and the year before that, he won the U.S. belt, and then this year he wins the WWE belt. Huge fucking moment. And then the next match is, I've talked about it before. Batista, Triple H and Ric Flair plotting against Batista. They do the thumbs up, thumbs down thing, and this was the fucking match, dude. Triple H made Batista in this match. At that time, I was a huge fucking Batista mark. I've always been a Triple H fan, but Batista, fucking goes over on Triple H, and he's got the belt up at the end. It's just it was a night of nights for me. So for me, that is the greatest WrestleMania that they've ever put out, with all the factors, right? They've got the Hollywood theme, they've got the vignettes leading up to this, and just that fucking match card, dude. That match card, it's gonna be hard to find a match card that has that much fucking talent on it.
Oh, I agree. No, that's a very good point. I'm actually impressed that you went that way. That's okay. I can fully respect that. Didn't really break down the match card of mine, but to me, a lot of those matches were very pinnacle moments to me. Number one, LOD coming back right out of the gate. I mean, they had the LOD 2000 thing going with Sonny. It was a fresh look. I liked it. I did. But some of the ones that are more memorable to me, I remember Goldust and Luna versus Mark Mara and Sable, and I enjoyed that match. I mean, Goldust had that Manson thing going, pushing the envelope. I like that. Probably the one that gets slept on a lot is Triple H versus Owen Hart for the European title. Two of my favorites of all time. In early parts of their career, early parts, but before Triple H, super, rockets to stardom the next night, it was still like that was, to me, that was the last night of my favorite incarnation of DX. So that it holds that memory for me, because the next night on Raw is when, Sean's gone. He brings in X-Pac, and, they're off to those races. Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie, My Eye, versus the New Age Outlaws. A great match. Throwback to the dumpster and them getting pushed off the stage in the dumpster. And then, you top that off with Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels, which, you take that match and you make Shawn Michaels back better. Oh my God, imagine that match. It was still good for what it was, for what he was able to do. But, for me, that, and I guess maybe more so than everything, because I've talked many times about how I loved the Kane intro. The Kane storyline, the coming in, gonna beat everybody down till Undertaker faces him. They finally meet each other at WrestleMania, and of course Taker goes over, but I mean they built that storyline correct. So yeah, everything about that WrestleMania was memorable for me. I think I told you the day after, I actually went home sick from school. Like, I was so emotionally distraught. I went home sick from school. That is not a lie. So yeah, so many memories. I'll never forget it. I go back and watch it frequently. Probably nostalgic more often than I should, but I mean, to me, that just holds the greatest memory. It was the greatest WrestleMania to me. But I get yours. I get it.
Yeah. Well, if we're going to talk about personal memories of those moments, so I can tell you that the night that we watched this WrestleMania, we were at my cousin's friend's house, and the power went out right after this WrestleMania went off because it was tornado season. There was a tornado in the area. So me and my cousin go jogging back to his house, and he stops to light up a cigarette in the middle of the fucking tornado because he just sells tornadoes. Like, he didn't give a fuck. He's like, I'm not putting a tornado over. Fuck that shit. So yeah, that's my memory of that WrestleMania.
That's hilarious, man. Oh my God.
But to just put a fine point on mine, I think another reason that I'm picking 21 is the game changed after that night, dude. Like I said, I was a Batista fan. I didn't watch SmackDown at the time, and the night after this, they fucking switched brands, dude. Batista went to SmackDown, and John Cena came to Raw, and they pushed John Cena to the fucking moon. So I mean, it changed the game, dude. Like that was the moment that a lot of things in wrestling started to become interesting again. So. But all right, man. Well, that kind of wraps up the main event segment. So for our pod this week, we have one segment that's going to follow up the main event. So we're going to switch on over. We're going to throw down on the gauntlet. All right, Blake. So before we wrap up the J.O.B. POD episode 9, we're throwing down the gauntlet because we've had some discussions this week because you have turned our wrestling group chat into a hockey group chat, and you made the distinction to tell me in that said group chat that hockey is better than wrestling when you're on a wrestling fucking podcast. So I want you to explain to me how the fuck hockey is better than wrestling.
All right, brother. Now,
just know that you're coming out of heel in this because this is a wrestling podcast.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting booed out of the building right now mentally. Everybody's like, this fucking guy, like, booed his ass, bring me on the show. And that's cool. I get that. Been a hockey fan for a long time, and I mean, you know that. To me, it's such a fast-paced game. The emotions tied to the game. Um, it is unlike, like wrestling. There's a lot of emotion involved, a lot of emotion driven. Uh, hockey is the only sport that will allow fighting. You sit 5 minutes, you go out and do it again. Emotions run high, and it's naturally going to in that fast-paced environment. Now, for me, it's the greatest thing about hockey is when we're just comparing it to wrestling, not just in life, but just we're doing a show and we're praising the nostalgia of wrestling. We are talking about how great it used to be. Hockey's still great to me. The game doesn't change from year to year. There may be some rule changes. Doesn't affect it that much. I still not many people know this about me. I'm an avid jersey collector of game worn hockey jerseys. Love that. But I used to also collect figures, and I used to also collect wrestling shirts. I haven't wanted to do that in so long. I don't think there's a true way to compare apples to apples or apples to oranges here. But to me, I still get my kicks. I still get my thrills. I mean, hockey can still get me up out of my seat to cheer, which is hard to do with my back as fucked as it is. But yeah, that's everything to me. It still entertains me. And the high speed of the game, the scoring, the emotions involved. We can sit here and talk about this all night, and I can give you specific examples. You're probably not going to know what they are, just like many people that listen to this are probably not going to know what it is. But we talking about how people, like you were just talking about, Batista goes to SmackDown, John Cena comes Raw. I mean, it's like there's trade season every year. I mean, somebody might go to a different team mid-season. I mean, I have the worst jersey luck. If I buy your jersey, chances are your ass is getting traded within the next year, and that's just my fucking luck. Let's spend $300 on a jersey just to see this guy go. But that's just it to me, man. I'm sorry. I would love to be able to be entertained and to fall back in love with wrestling again. I just don't see it happening. That's why I'm on here talking nostalgia and everything. Meanwhile with hockey, yes, there's definitely nostalgia. I can go back and talk about past seasons with friends and who won the cup this year and this player played for this team. But I can have those moments are still ongoing. No one changed the blueprint to hockey, but the blueprint to wrestling has changed, and it sucks. I'm sorry.
So I have a few questions.
All right.
Has hockey ever made you cry
Yes.
during a game?
Yes.
I call bullshit. Has any
No,
hockey player ever taken a 20-foot drop twice in one night?
No.
Okay. All right.
Now, can I elaborate on this a little bit?
Go ahead.
Number one, yes, I have cried during hockey, just like I have during wrestling. There's been deaths. I mean, 3 years ago, the Humboldt team, their entire bus was damn near wiped out. Yaroslava Lokomotiv, their plane crashed. Very touching tribute video packages, just like we saw with Dusty's, man.
Stop trying to make me look like a heel here, Blake. This is a fucking wrestling show. I go over.
But as far as just moments in games that I had been a Nashville Predators fan since I heard this team was coming to Tennessee in '97. It took all the way to 2017 for this team to reach the Stanley Cup final. And you bet your ass when the final horn blew, for us to go to the Stanley Cup final, yeah, I was definitely crying for sure.
Did y'all lose that game?
We didn't. No, we didn't lose that game at all. We won that game. That's what sent us to the Stanley Cup final. Now,
No, did you win the finals game?
No, we did not. No, we did not.
Bitch.
I was. Thanks, bro. But and that's the funny part is I didn't cry when we lost the finals. That was more anger, but the emotions of a win, and even more so than all the stuff that happens in professional. That's professional hockey. My children are not going to be wrestlers. At least they haven't shown any interest in being. But hockey is something I get to enjoy with my kids. My oldest is a hockey player, and he's a damn good hockey player. I don't know how far he'll take it in life. It's up to him. The ball's in his court. But that's something I get to enjoy with my family.
Don't you mean like the pucks in his rink?
I like that. Yeah. Yeah, the puck is definitely it's on his stick at this point. There we go. I like that. But yeah, just different things like that. And I mean, and that's the unfortunate part, dude. Do not misunderstand. I will always love the time in wrestling, the memories that I made. I just don't think they're ever coming back. Like we have been at wrestling shows with our children together. Yeah, they want to buy the armbands. Yeah, they want to buy the t-shirt, but neither one of them came home and watched the next episode of Raw. Neither one of them gave a shit. It didn't click with them. Like nothing resonates with this audience, young or old, which I know they're trying to cater to the young audience, but it doesn't fucking matter because I mean nothing is catching their attention.
No, I mean I'm with you, dude. Like the product is definitely in a downturn, and like I said before, I don't think it'll ever go back to what it was. But I do have hope that there will be a semblance of, and it doesn't have to. They don't have to fucking go back and recreate the wheel. I mean, it has to be taken seriously. They have to put in the effort. They have to care. They have to let people get over, and nobody's getting over because they don't let them get over. They don't let them cut their own promos. They don't let them do their own things. I mean,
well, yeah, dude, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is it does not have to be the Attitude Era again. But someone like we were in training class a while back, and someone told me they're like, "You know what KISS stands for?" And I was like, "I don't know, like Knights in Satan's Service, some shit like that." I heard that on a movie once, and they're like, "No, keep it simple, stupid." And that resonated because I mean, I don't need all the extra glammy bullshit. I don't. Just give me a believable character, a believable storyline. Let the son of a bitch loose with a mic and let them make his own promo and stop hiring people that don't know shit about wrestling to write a wrestling show.
yeah, no, I'm with you. A few more questions.
All right.
Does hockey run 365 days a year?
It does not.
That's another detractor.
Now, what does happen is, like wrestling has their certain episodes for, free agency or not free agency. Never mind, that's hockey. But when they're doing their draft, they have a certain show for their drafts, and while they still have action going on in that, I mean, there are still kids playing hockey now. Is there a start of a regular season and an end with a championship? Yes, there is. But hockey's still going on all the time. I mean, there is a training period that does take a difference from wrestling that they are performing 365 days a year. I will give you that. I will definitely give you that. But what we're talking about from whistle to whistle in 3 20-minute periods, those players, every time they touch the ice, are going to play every second of that period. And it's fast paced, it's hard hitting. So, you're a wrestler, you're blown up, you can go into a rest hold. You can if you're in the middle of play, there is no rest.
Have any of the hockey players ever completed a game with a broken quad or torn quad? Twice.
There's been guys die literally. He plays for the Dallas Stars. Shit. Fuck me. I'll regret not remembering his name. He literally went into cardiac arrest on the bench, so they got him back to the locker room, revived his ass, and he asked if he could go back into the game. But
was his quad torn, Blake? Damn.
No,
Triple H did that shit twice, homie.
But there are guys all the time you find with like pulled groins and yes, torn quads, torn ACLs that have played through the championship because they want the glory. They want to be on the cup, It's a badass game. Just like, and there are badasses in wrestling. I think it's similar to wrestling as far as like bleeding goes. Um, I know if you're bleeding, you have to go off immediately. But there have been some bad ones. In I'll say my fandom lifetime, there was a player by the name of Richard Zednick who was playing for Florida at the time. Got his, I think it was the jugular that's right there. I mean, and you just see just blood squirt everywhere. So I mean, just the violence and the gore there. I mean, but like this is the thing in wrestling that is shock and awe. You don't want to see that shit in hockey.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you don't want to see it in either place, honestly. If somebody's gushing blood out from their fucking jugular vein in wrestling, something's going on too.
All right, two last questions.
All right.
One, has any player ever shit in another player's bag / food container?
Not that they have told the public.
Well, that's another point, man. And my final question.
Are you really gonna put a point into somebody's bag for shitting in a bag?
Yeah, dude, that's
Like
hilarious.
That's a bonus.
That's hilarious. It's fucked up, and I can't believe that it happened multiple times, but still hilarious. The story is hilarious.
I don't know if there's somebody out there that can tell me if another hockey player shit in another hockey player's bag. If you could let me know, that'd be awesome.
All right, last question, and this is for the whole shebang. Has any hockey player ever kicked another hockey player's elbow and knocked their own stick into their fucking eye, and said hockey player got on the ground and said, "My eye, my goddamn eye." Oh. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Wrestling is still the greatest sport in sports entertainment. Fuck hockey. It sucks. Nobody likes it. No, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, I get it, Blake. I understand the hockey fandom. I appreciate that about you. I appreciate that you have that knowledge and you do have that passion for the sport. And I think, I don't know as much about hockey as you do. I've watched some stuff with you. But other than that, I mean, I respect hockey. I respect hockey players. I think they do, kick ass, and it is a fucking super interesting game. But I mostly just wanted to do this debate for fun. I know, what you're saying as far as right now, your fandom is more in the hockey realm than it is in wrestling, but, you have the same level of fandom for wrestling that I have, and that's why we do this show every week, is so we can just, look back like two old fucks on Golden Pond, remembering the good old days and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, so
absolutely. And, that's never what I wanted to get out of this is that, Blake hates what he does and Blake hates being on the show. No, I don't. I love coming on here, like you said, reminiscing on the good old days. I mean, because there's so many, like, think about it, man. There's so many of those moments in wrestling that we look back on, make us laugh, make us smile. Hell, if we think about it hard enough, probably make us cry. But I don't want to go there. I don't like crying.
Oh, I could get there, bro. I could
for
totally
sure.
get there.
Oh yeah, you throw on that Eddie Guerrero tribute video with Johnny Cash.
Yeah, if you throw on the Eddie Guerrero tribute, I will cry every time.
Well, and then the Dusty one, man, so well done, so well done. So many of those tribute videos are so good.
The Dusty one was just so personal because we were fucking there, and the whole arena felt the same thing in that moment. And just thinking about that gives me fucking chills, dude. Like, I will never in my fandom that I can think of. I mean, if we were at the fucking arena when Sean, they do a tribute on him or something, maybe. But that fucking Dusty moment with me and my best friend there, and just feeling everything that we felt, and dude, that was a moment.
For sure, yeah. I mean, there's nothing that can really top that. I mean, it was a moment. I mean, it's gonna be a moment that lasts forever, and yeah.
So one, and I lied. I got one final question here for you.
All right.
What are your thoughts on the Goon?
I love that fucking movie.
Whoa. I'm talking about WWF's The Goon.
Oh, God.
The hockey player gimmick from 1993 or whatever the fuck.
I know what you're talking about. I mean, I put it right in there with Doink and the Mountie and all this other bullshit. It was so cheesy, and it was just.
Yeah, that
It
was
should have never happened.
that was a joke question. So
Oh, for sure. But it's like, I mean, it's just funny. Like, you look at it, and it's so, like, it's part of the stereotype that was WWE characters at the time, you know? Oh, what was the, I mean, like, you know, Coco Beware and all this other shit, man. Just,
Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
yeah. I mean, IRS is some old white guy in glasses. I mean, the WWF loved their stereotypes back in the day.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we threw down the gauntlet, and I think you gave a good debate for hockey. But you know, we are the J.O.B. P.O.D. We are the the jabronis that love wrestling. So that is our show this week. We will be back soon with another episode. But for this week, Blake, thanks for talking to me, and
Pleasure.
with that too sweet, bro. Can't see it. Can't see it. Fucking green screen.
Yep.
All right.
There we go.
All right. See you
Bye,
guys
guys.
next time.
Yes, I heard after that match with Lawler. Sure, I'm missing some teeth. Yes, I've got permanent damage to my eye. But have you seen Jerry Lawler? Has anybody seen him? Does he have enough guts to come back against me again? I am the meanest man in professional wrestling. They had to pull me off a Lawler while I was beating on the man's body while he was laying there. This week they're going to have a fence around the ring. And you people, remember what I'm saying to you, because I'm speaking the truth. You will never see.
Fucking bullshit!